You all remember this play. 5 years later, it's still hysterical. But as funny as it is to laugh at this fake punt attempt that clearly had no chance at working, this play was a mistake. The ball was never supposed to be snapped there. There was a miscommunication somewhere along the line, and hilarity ensued because of it. It's like when you're playing Madden and you accidentally tap the A button twice to hike the ball, and you do something you didn't mean to do. It looks really stupid, but that was never the intent. It's a heck of a lot worse when you intentionally try and fake a punt that has no shot at working. So if I show you this picture of the Chargers lining up for a punt on 4th and 35, your gut instinct is telling you that they're going to punt the ball away. Because that's what you do in a situation like that. That's common sense. There's no possible way that the Chargers can fake this punt. And there's no possible way that if they fake it, this play can actually work, right? Well, there's only one way to find out. Play the clip.
To punt is Cyphers. Oh, a fake, it's Weddle, who goes down the side, and he looks for a 0-2-2. Did he catch the ball? He did, but out of bounds. Yep, he was on the chalk. Weddle with the pass, he's the personal protector. Mike McCoy tried a sleight of hand, it didn't work, and now look where the Raiders will begin this drive, their first of the second half.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Now before I break this down, I want to say that the fact that I've now done 2 of these in a row, and both of them involve the Chargers, is completely unintentional. But with this series, I'm taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something that looked bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something that looked awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no possible way that this can work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. Although in this case, as you'll find out, the head coach wasn't exactly to blame here. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at this decision to go for it on 4th and 35 near midfield when the Raiders were more than prepared for it. First, we have to start with the man who threw the pass on this play. That's Eric Weddle. He was arguably the best safety in the NFL at this point in his career. During that 2014 season, he made it to the Pro Bowl, and he was named a first-team All-Pro. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler, and he led the league in interceptions during the 2011 season. So it's not like this is some no-name throwing the ball here. And nobody is doubting whether or not Weddle is a great player on defense. But can he throw a 35-yard pass? Can he even throw a pass, period? As of this video, Weddle has played in 201 games across his 13-year career with the Chargers, Ravens, and the Rams. This remains the only pass he's ever thrown in the NFL. He didn't throw a pass before this, and he hasn't thrown a pass since. The last time Weddle completed a pass? You have to go back to the Holy War in 2006 between Utah and BYU, when he threw this 18-yard touchdown. Here's how it sounded.
A 1st and 10, ball now on the 18, again in motion is Castile. They fake to him, and now he throws to him. Touchdown, Utah! Brent Castile's 8th touchdown of the year, and it comes.
Castile, and everybody lets him go, and everybody knows that Weddle's going to throw the ball. Weddle takes a step forward. That sucks the linebackers up. He delivers the ball right on the money to.
Weddle played on offense a lot at Utah during that 2006 season toward the end of the year at the halfback position. But that's one of just 2 passes he's ever completed in his career. He's 2 for 6 throwing the ball. He had that 18-yard touchdown, and he had a 25-yard pass against Colorado State earlier in the season that I couldn't find any footage of. So even if Weddle matched his career long on this 4th and 35 play, he would have been 10 yards short of the sticks. Going for it on 4th and super long is ill-advised. And to go for it from that far out is, well, unprecedented. Pro Football Reference has a gameplay finder dating all the way back to 1994. I looked at every single play from 1994 to 2014 where a team was facing a 4th and 35 or longer. Now I excluded the 4th quarter from this, because in the 4th quarter, sometimes you have to go for it on 4th down, no matter the distance. If it's a 4th and 50 but you have no timeouts left, you have to go for it and just hope for the best. 4th and 29, and you have to just say a prayer and see if you can make some magic happen, and see if... Wait, how on earth did this play work? Anyways, there were 61 instances of a team facing a 4th and 35 or longer. On 60 of these, the team facing this situation either punted the ball or lined up for the field goal. I could only find one instance of a team facing a 4th and 35 or longer and going for it. Sure enough, that was this play. Just to give you an idea of how absurd it is to go for it on 4th and 35 in a situation like this, from 1994 to 2014, the longest distance I could see any team going for it was 29 yards, which came in a 2001 game between the Titans and the Packers. The Titans did not get the first down. The longest distance I could see any team getting the first down by means other than a penalty was 26 yards, which came during this game between the Bears and the Packers in 2012. If the Chargers converted this fake, it would have been 9 yards longer than the record for a situation like this. When teams went for it on 4th and longer than 20 yards in a situation like this, from 1994 to 2014, I only found 2 instances of the team actually converting. It was that Bears-Packers play, and then a play by Mark Brunell in 2004 against the Packers from 22 yards out. 2 instances in that 20-year stretch of a team actually converting from longer than 4th and 20. And this play by Weddle, again, was 4th and 35. And what made this decision all the more puzzling is the fact that they were playing the Raiders, a team with a notoriously bad offense. That season, the Raiders averaged just 15.8 points per game, which was 31st in the league out of 32 teams. In their first 4 games, the team scored just 51 points total, and didn't eclipse 14 points in any of those games. Entering this game, the Raiders had 3 drives where they started at their own 46-yard line or better, which is the spot they would wind up at if this 4th and 35 did not work. Oakland scored on 2 of those drives. Now let's assume that the Chargers punt the ball and pin them inside their 13-yard line. In their first 4 games, in drives where the Raiders started at the 13-yard line or worse, Oakland scored on 1 out of 7 drives. But that scenario is assuming that there's even an average punt here. Let's assume worst case scenario besides a block. And let's assume that there's a touchback, meaning that the Raiders are starting at their own 20-yard line. Oakland had 28 drives in their first 4 games where they started at the 20-yard line or worse. They scored a touchdown on 2 of them. 2. That's it. Which odds sound better to you if you're the Chargers? Sure enough, the Raiders scored a touchdown on the ensuing drive following this misfire, taking advantage of the gift given by San Diego. So that raises the question, why did this fake punt even happen? Well, Eric Weddle called the play. It had nothing to do with Mike McCoy or the coaching staff. Weddle had the green light to audible fakes. And it worked before. In Week 17 against the Chiefs in 2013, the Chargers had to win that game. If they didn't win, then they would be eliminated from postseason contention. And during overtime of that game, deep in their own territory, San Diego had a 4th and 2. Instead of punting the ball away, Weddle called for a fake, and he picked up the first down, even though failure to convert would have resulted in almost a guaranteed loss and Pittsburgh going to the playoffs over San Diego. Weddle was a bit too ambitious this time though. He said that he saw something, and by the time he realized that Oakland was ready for it, it was too late to audible back out. But that raises the question, why not just take the delay of game penalty? Why not take a 5-yard penalty and maybe even put yourself in a better punting situation because of it? You didn't have to snap the ball here. If it was too late to audible back, you easily could have taken the penalty instead of doing, well, whatever on earth they wound up doing. So to recap everything, no fake punt from any comparable distance had ever been converted before. The player involved in the fake hadn't thrown a pass in 8 years, had never thrown a pass in the NFL, and had never thrown a pass even close to that distance before. And based on Oakland's prior offensive history, pinning them inside the 20 would have likely resulted in no harm being done whatsoever. Having said all of that, you can't exactly be surprised when this decision backfires. Talk about a dumb decision.
To punt is Cyphers. Oh, a fake. It's Weddle who goes down the side, and he looks for a Giratutu. Did he catch the ball? He did, but out of bounds. Yep, he was on the chalk. Weddle with the pass. He's the personal protector. Mike McCoy tried a sleight of hand. It didn't work. And now look where the Raiders will begin this drive their first of the second half.